Welcome to Adults Only Comedy Berlin. Today we have Ori Halevy.
Yes, I am here today, right now.
In the sweltering heat. We've had a heat wave in Berlin. It's 35
hot.
degrees for like the third day. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a haze.
I don't know what day we're in anymore.
Me neither.
It's too sweaty.
It's so sweaty.
You know how you get like surprised when you're like, oh, what is that liquid on my leg? Oh, it's my own sweat from my back or my butt or whatever.
You know legs sweat as well?
Like, of course.
Knee
I'm
sweat?
Fucking hairy. like back of the knee sweat.
Back then, but also just like knee sweat. Like
Like
I remember
front of the knee
front
sweat?
knee sweat.
I don't know that.
I was last summer, I think I was in Italy, and I noticed just this drip from my knee, and it was like, that has not come from anywhere but my knee. Like,
That's weird.
It is weird.
I don't think there's any, is there like anything there? Like it's just skin and then bone, no?
But there's sweat glands everywhere, right? Like there's sweat, like the pores release the sweat.
There should be like a release valve, just like
Really?
that. Everything comes together in one place, but not without it becoming like
That's
bloated.
that's like an ejaculation of your sweat, like one place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We should have another organ for sweat.
Ooh, a sex squirt.
And it made it
No,
feel good. You know?
Sweat squirt.
Yeah,
Sweat squirt. That's a
Just
hard
get a
one.
sweat squirt
I'm
all
gonna
over
sweat squirt all over you. Oh yeah. Where would it
least-
be? Where would you put it?
you. Probably in the same areas, like probably around the butt.
You do it on the butt, really?
It depends if it's long. I don't want it to be like uncomfortable.
Okay, like the actual release is
It
long.
could be for men. It could be like it could be to the right of the penis a little bit, not on the thing itself, but to the right of the penis.
Right. But then how do you socially comfortably release that? Like you have to go to the bathroom
You
and
go
do
to
it?
the bathroom. Yeah.
Ah, because I'd say you could argue that the sweat squirt valves are actually the armpits. And we have two of
Yeah,
them.
but they don't control the whole thing.
They do not.
Also, it's very uncomfortable. You go on stage,
Oh.
right? You do comedy. Everybody can see that you're sweating, and it's just weird that's the area that's chosen to be the one that shows how sweaty you are when you're sweaty all over, really.
Right? And it's great in winter as well. Like it really shows, it's like, oh, he's nervous or she's nervous if she's already got sweat patches and it's
Yeah.
like an average, pretty cold day.
It's like on the train, that person didn't use deodorant.
Yeah, right?
It's like it shows you who farted, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that should be the thing. It should be like a little valve that from time to time just goes, and then you know how hot a person is.
But sweat farts. I don't know.
Sweat farts.
Sweat farts.
That's the name for a band.
Sweat farts.
We are sweat farts. Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna sweat all over you, and it's not gonna smell, or it's gonna smell. I don't know. They throw
Does
should it-
sweat smell?
I think if you're not clean, sweat smells. So that's the whole thing. Like sweaty sex, it gets to a point. If you've been fucking for so long, then it's like it does start to smell because it's the old sweat. Old sweat smells.
What do you mean old sweat smells?
Old sweat smells. This is another band.
That's
It's more of a
another-
folk band.
I think it's their Oh, hello. Welcome, everybody. We're Old Sweat Smells. And, this one is for my dad.
Daddy.
I remember how you sweat all over me. All right.
Ba-dum-bum.
I can still smell it in the air.
Old sweat smells. Yeah, so I think you only smell bad when you sweat if you are dirty from like a number of hours of work. Like if it's an old sweat.
But is it the sweat itself? Like if I took all the sweat and I put it in a little cup. Let's say we're rewriting Two Girls, One Cup. All right. What is it?
Two Girls, One Cup.
And you just put sweat in there. First off, it's disgusting to think about somebody drinking it. But does just the sweat smell, or does it have to be connected to your body?
I think if it was a pure release of the sweat, it wouldn't smell, but it's because it touches your skin, and your skin has all the bacteria and things from the atmosphere, and that's what gives it the smell. But I think pure sweat, and it depends on how healthy you are too. It's kind of like ejaculate. Like a man's cum apparently doesn't taste as good if he's got a bad diet.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was all connected to the types of food you eat, like avocado and pineapple. And
I think also if you like smoke a bunch of weed, or if you what's the other one? Like I think someone was like, if a guy smokes weed a bunch, his cum tastes terrible. And I'm like, that's the only cum I know.
you should change your dating pattern.
I have.
I think it's funny if somebody's like very impressed by someone on the first date, and then they go and they have sex and they give them oral sex, and then they come, like the other person comes in your mouth, and then only then you realize how much of a loser they are.
Yeah, it's only in that moment.
That's years of weed. Oh,
Yeah.
God damn it. Just,
Yeah, good tasting cum. Like, how would you rate yours on a scale of 1 to 10?
I don't like to taste my own cum.
You surprise me, Ori.
I tell you what's my problem with cum. It's not the. Is it common? Do people like this to taste their own cum?
I don't know. I like to taste how I taste, to see
Women,
how
I
I
think,
taste.
like it more.
To taste themselves?
From my experience, personal experience, women like they enjoy tasting themselves. They're like, oh, let me taste me. I'm like the opposite.
Like, give me a kiss after you've been down there.
Yes,
I want to
exactly.
taste myself. Yeah, I guess. But I guess, yeah. I don't, okay, generally maybe women do like it more. Maybe,
guess.
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it.
Because it's not so easy for us. Like, we have to really put our fingers in there. It's not like we get like a whole puddle of it. Like, it's, we just get like a little what would you call it? Like a culinary term for it? Just like a glaze. We get a glaze of femme juice as opposed to like a whole fucking,
There should be a restaurant,
puddle.
A glaze of femme juice with
Yeah.
a little bit of tartar.
A bit of tartare.
Oh my God.
A little bit of jus de coq.
I am Jewish. Jus de coq. I never heard that one.
Jus, like the French juice,
Jus de coq.
Jus de coq.
I think it's interesting that you put it in a way that if whoever is going down on you is the receptor, it's really like maybe you didn't even want to have sex that day, but you just wanted to taste your own self, and so you sent someone down there to bring some up because you couldn't be bothered to jerk off or something like that.
Like glaze mining, like go down there for me, boy, and
Exactly.
bring some back for me.
Take this helmet. I tell you what my problem is with my own cum, and it's not only when I like take a little and let's say taste it, or if somebody's going down on me and I kiss them. There's it's not the taste. There's an effect. It's like it makes, I don't know how you taste something and makes your tongue dry.
Ooh.
That's what I feel about my own cum.
Oh wow.
And I haven't heard it from other people, but I have like it's not disgust. It's just like I need a drink.
You need a drink afterwards.
Yeah, it's like my cum is glue.
Yeah. Or it's like there's like a natural response in your body to say, that's not for me.
Yeah.
That's not for me.
Yeah.
That's to go elsewhere. That's supposed to
Exactly.
leave my body and stay out of the
Stay
body.
out of there. There's a reason we put it way down there. Don't bring it back. We're not interested.
Like, you gave it to someone. Why is she giving it back? Like,
Exactly. It's like it's things you put in the cellar. You're not gonna use it anymore, And then you see it again. Maybe I should put it in my living room, and the part of you is going like, no. There's a reason it was in the cellar in the first place.
Yeah. You should have just let it go. Let it go.
It's weird. It's also like I have come a few times without coming, which, by the way, as for
Hold
man,
on, what? You've come a few times without coming.
without ejaculation. It's like
what
a
do you mean by
tantric.
that? Coming without ejaculating, tantric. Yeah.
Which is really amazing. Actually, it's really good. I think it's the only way that men can come multiple times.
Yeah.
So I've done that, not a lot, not multiple times, but I have done it. And it's so nice because first off, I came, and then there was nothing. I didn't even need to get rid of anything.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's really bothersome to me that I have to get rid of a thing.
Yeah, there's like a cleanup every time you
Every
want to
time.
feel sexual pleasure.
And I also, if I come, let's say in a napkin or in some toilet paper, I'm like, well, it's a shame. It's this climate change and everything. It's
Yeah,
trees. Right? I'm just coming on trees.
Maybe you need like a ejaculation cup, like the menstrual cup, but just something that you can jack it to,
just
and then
keep
like
it in the living room on the shelf. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, what is this? Oh, it's around 2.5 years
no, like you'd
of
empty
my life.
it. You'd empty it. You don't want to save the jizz.
Why?
But
That would
like,
be fun, though.
Save the jizz?
Probably somebody does that. There's got to be
Probably.
like a psycho out there.
Well, but you could use it. Like, I wonder what it's good for. Because Dan Stern was on this podcast and he talked about a housemate
he's
of
got
his.
great cum.
He's got great cum. Mwah,
One of the
Dan
best
Stern
cum I've
special.
heard on the scene. It's everybody's talking about his cum all the time. So it's the first thing that comes up in conversation. Everything's like,
I'm putting
Dan
that in the
Stern,
description.
cum.
No, we talk about Dan Stern's
Just write
cum.
that. I think it'll bring you a lot of audiences. I think it's an international topic.
Oh my
Dan
God.
Stern's cum.
But Dan Stern's housemate, he had a housemate once who would keep her menstrual blood in a jar,
Okay.
and she would use it for fertilization of some kind of tree.
Okay.
And so like the menstrual cup, she would like tip it into the jar, and there was like some piece of wood in there that would keep it. I don't know.
How did she know that she got consent from the tree?
Maybe, that's a really good question.
Like maybe
Ori.
the tree was like, I would rather have water, you bitch, but I'll find it through your blood. And she's like, oh, it's fantastic. It loves it. It's just,
And this tree's like,
oh my God, talking to other trees. She just gives me her blood. It's fucking weird, man.
But you know, like lemon trees benefit from urine, right?
Do they?
Yeah. You should pee on a lemon tree. Some lemon trees, and
Now I
they
understand
really
the
flourish.
taste of lemonade.
Right? Exactly.
Okay.
But so like I think there is something like there's iron and there is stuff in that blood that could be
Okay.
utilized,
Yeah,
right?
I
And
can see
for me, like since I started using a menstrual cup, I was like, I'm literally just tipping this perfectly good product down the toilet. Like, surely it could be reused somehow. So with your
I agree with that.
Right?
I had a joke about that, about the power of cum, because essentially it gives life to a
Oh
thing.
yeah, I remember this bit. This was
Yeah.
about menstrual blood, but yours about cum. If you
Yeah.
had, instead of like wasting all of this like tissue and stuff every time you come and have to clean up, if you had a cum cup and then you then poured the cum in somewhere and you
So,
could,
so it's got to be a fuel for something.
it's
It
got to be a
creates
fuel.
life.
Right?
It creates. It's just so much of it is floating around the ocean.
Yeah, that's right. And then like what was that bit that you did? It was so intense.
It was how come we've never seen a fish person? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So much cum going out in there.
And
it's not. I forgot the bit, but it's something like that.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember
It was
that.
something like that. I do think about that sometimes. You know, so much cum in the ocean.
So much cum in the ocean.
I hope at least the fish eat a little bit of it.
I hope so. If it gets that far, I don't know.
But it's got to be a fuel. It's got to be something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It creates life. There's so much fucking power in that thing.
Yeah.
Do you think that if you keep your urine, your cum in a cup for years, does it stay alive?
Nah, man, it dies within the sperm die within, what is it? It's like max 72 hours, but I think it's 24 hours or 40.
Really?
Yeah. So you got to be careful if you're a woman, like fertile, if there's like cum lingering, you should pee and ideally and if you don't want to get pregnant, like flush that shit out because those little guys can still like cling onto the sides and like try and grope their way up to the egg.
They're very ambitious.
They are. That's the most ambitious part of a male, I think.
I wish I had some of the ambition of my own cum.
That's
You know what I mean? Let's just do it. Let's go for it. Let's fucking. I'm sitting at home going, there's no meaning to life. I just end it all. And my cum is like, let's make more of these things.
I think that's a song by the Sweat Squirts. It's called "Come Ambition." We got a new song called "Come Ambition." Yeah.
I feel like we've created them in some dimension, and they're highly successful now. While we're sitting here just doing a podcast.
And they're like putting money in, kind of like Dolly Parton with the vaccine. They're putting money into the
what did Dolly
development.
Parton do?
The Moderna vaccine is
I
by
heard
Dolly
something.
Parton.
Wow.
Like she funded that.
That's so cool.
So I think Sweat Squirts, they're using their money to go into research to see what cum can create. And
I'm telling you, there's got to be. I'm sure somebody's. It can't be that you can't do anything.
there's
with
got to be. There's definitely a research team somewhere.
I mean, Dan Stern's roommate is doing something with hers.
Yeah.
It's not cum, but it's
menstrual blood. Yeah.
What's the strength of menstrual blood? What is
Strength.
like? What does it have? What are the properties that are?
Definitely got iron in it. I think I don't know what else is in blood. Like I guess there's oxygen in there. There's the red blood cells are iron. Hemoglobin, maybe there's hemoglobin in there. I don't know what that does.
So
I think
much
that's like
waste.
regenerative. Regenerative.
That's the third song on the album.
Yeah.
Regenerative.
Regenerative. With a double
words.
F at the end. Regenerative.
Riff. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's just a guitar solo by a guy who doesn't know how to play guitar.
Exactly. So let's see. But your cum tasting funny. My.
What do you do?
But you.
Let's see about what? What are you talking
No,
about?
I was just going back to you tasting your own cum and
Oh, tasting, yeah. Tasting
you
and
tasting your own cum and
It's
it
my
not
cum
being.
calling right now.
Your cum is calling.
Yeah. I've
Give us a
tasted
second
your
try.
No, give us a second try, Isabel. Come on. You go to a restaurant once?
Exactly. You're gonna base your whole opinion on that one.
You know what? We should add this to you and I, because we invented Tinder. We should add this to Tinder, where people get to rate your cum.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah.
so you can say whatever you want about yourself, but your cum has been rated.
Yeah, well,
Why isn't there a system for that?
well, like my idea back like 5 years ago with a friend, Fernando, the idea was a dick advisor. So not TripAdvisor, dick advisor, and it would be like Tinder, but you could rate the sex. You could rate the taste
Why
of the
isn't there a
cum.
thing like that?
I don't know. I feel like maybe men don't want to be rated.
Well, I mean, if you get, let's say you get 1 out of 5, you can
Yeah.
always leave the app.
yeah, right.
Maybe it's a shame thing. Maybe people, but I think people who are at least pretending to be confident would go for it, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't you?
Also, wouldn't you want to know? Let's say you're going on a date. It's
Yeah.
not even. You know, it's I'm all for the sex part, but let's make it even bigger. Like just general rating
As a person.
Yeah, as a person, how much of I don't know, of a nice person were they? How much did they respect your boundaries or whatever?
Yeah.
How much? How would you rate their? Like, I wouldn't go like into little like humor and shit like that.
No.
But just like a general,
That's
was
too
it a nice
subjective, yeah.
atmosphere? It's like-
Respectful.
respectful is good. Yeah.
Respectful, generous, I guess. Although that
Generous
can be
is a
taken a little
trap.
bit.
Yeah.
Respectful,
Respectful,
I guess.
nice.
Respectful to others, respectful to me. So it's like how they treat other people outside of the date
How
as well.
accurate was it? Like
How
photo
accurate,
vs. You know, like Airbnb and Uber.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is it not on dates?
Why are there not ratings?
That which probably is something like
The
that.
thing is, if there
somewhere.
were a rating system, I think I would have stayed on those dating apps because
Which those ones?
all of them, like if all of them had a rating system
Yeah.
on them.
Are you
and I
now
think-
out of them? Are you now?
Oh yeah,
out
I'm
of
not.
them?
I
Okay.
deleted everything. I've
Why?
done that many times, but I deleted everything because for me, it's just too much admin. Like the amount of time I have to spend looking at these people, deciding if I want to interact with them to the point I'm comfortable meeting them, and then meeting them, and there's still no chemistry. So for me, it's kind of like online shopping. It creates this weird psychological expectation that love can be like online shopping, and I don't like shopping. I like just finding what I like.
Yeah.
On
Like,
all
the street.
levels, on the
Just
street, on the street.
whatever it is.
Really, and
Yeah.
I-
Maybe that's now I realize why I have so much free time. It's because I'm married.
yeah, well, there's that. Like, but
I'm not looking for people all the time.
exactly. And I stopped looking for people, and I was just focusing on my projects, and I couldn't understand how it's kind of like drug taking. I feel like drug consumption, online dating, online shopping. They all just fill up your time. And gaming as well, and also
Gaming.
watching series and shit. Like all of this stuff, it's like, hold on, where are you creating in all of this? Like, how are you manifesting yourself if you're just consuming and yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've just lately. Have you seen the Bo Burnham new special?
Yeah.
Inside? Very good.
Dude, I want to message him. I'm developing an Instagram message to him to invite
Developing
him.
an Instagram message.
Yes, I'm.
That's an interesting.
It's a-
I've been working on it for a year and a
I've been
half.
for a year and a half now. It's my master thesis.
Okay.
Okay, firstly, he looks a lot like a man I fell in love with when I was leaving my ex-husband. There was a man that I just like, he sort of just swept me off my feet and gave me, like nothing happened because he had a partner, but he made me believe again that I could love somebody and that person could be light and generous and like full of warmth and inclusive,
nice.
and not like, he was this really amazing, this guy looks exactly like Bo Burnham. And actually the first time I watched the first special of Bo Burnham's on Netflix, it took me about 15 minutes into it for me to stop expecting him to switch to an Australian accent and to admit that he was my
wow.
friend. They look so similar. It's
Now with the
insane.
long hair and the beard.
Just all of it, like any form that he's in, he looks
Okay.
exactly like this guy. And
wow.
it's crazy.
So you want to write Bo Burnham that he looks exactly
No,
like?
no, that is not what I want to write.
That's what you've been developing for a year and a half.
But there's this weird thing that I feel like this guy created so much hope for me in Australia, and then this comedian exists in like he speaks so like I think he speaks to a lot of comedians, but there's such a vulnerability there, and there's such a like he's pushing stuff, but he's also just doing it his way, and he
Yeah.
doesn't really give a shit. Like yes, he's not pure stand up in any way, but he's like there's such an incredible. He's so bold and yet.
I'm bald.
Honest. You're bald.
I have
You're
no hair.
Bald.
Yes.
Bold and bald.
Yes.
Yeah, he's bald and with lots of hair.
Yes.
So what did you think of Bo Burnham's special? Inside.
I really enjoyed it. I felt connected in some way.
Yeah.
Like it came in a time where two friends of mine told me I should watch it because it said that it reminds them of me in a way.
Yeah.
Like one said me when I was younger, the other just said me.
Yeah.
I don't look like him obviously in any
Yeah.
way, but I did
'Cause you're
understand.
bald.
I'm bald, and I'm not as sexy as that guy. He's very sexy.
He's so sexy.
I can admit I'm not as sexy, but I'm sure my cum tastes better.
Your cum's happier, is what
It's
you're saying.
happier, yeah. No, I mean I looked at it and I not only looked at it, I enjoyed it, and I thought, first off, it is very brave.
Yeah.
And it is,
even though we hate that word as comedians, but
I don't hate that word. I
oh,
like
come
it.
on,
No,
brave.
I
It
like
sounds so. It depends on how it's said, but I feel like brave means it's like it's got flaws, and like good on you for putting yourself out. Like good on you for being full of mistakes, or good on you for being a bit of a failure.
Well, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Brave to me is like if you are able to transmit something about yourself that would be perceived by yourself as dangerous.
Yeah, very good. Nice description. I like brave then.
Yeah, so that's what I try to do when I go on stage.
Yep.
I don't think I'm as successful as him, obviously, doing it. And I think he has, the music is a very strong part of it.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the fact that he was able to articulate the things that he's going through and kind of thoughts that I also have from time to time, and especially during the quarantine. And the two things, I don't want to ruin it for anybody who's watching, but there's a cycle within it where he starts, like he doesn't say what's right and what's wrong. He's kind of cynical about certain things,
Yeah.
but he doesn't go, this is wrong and this is right. And
No.
I liked how he started with saying, how comedy is worthless because if you're in a burning building, you don't need a joke.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he is the burning building, so
Yeah.
he's the one who's on fire.
Yeah.
And then he asks someone to call and tell him a joke, and I
Yeah.
thought that was fantastic. It's
Yeah.
like, so you have found the meaning inside the comedy, in your own comedy and in comedy for us, maybe even because that's. He went through the journey to see if that's true, and he realized it is, which I think we all have from time to time. But
Yeah.
it's nice to get a clear reminder.
As comedians,
As
we all-
comedians,
yeah.
and also the ending, which I'm not going to ruin, is just fantastic.
Yeah.
So I really identified with him, and I was like, I would like to be able to convey my inner world with the same. I don't know if the same, but like with passion and integrity and with the same intensity, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Right on. That was a really,
Yeah.
really good description of it. His level of self-awareness, but it's not super it's not gratuitous. It is very much just his stuff, but there's a. Just the honesty, the reflection, that whole existential self-doubt, and there's the constant reminder of just like the futility of life, and
It is kind of futile, isn't it?
It's totally futile.
It's like I'm 41, and I've been going through this midlife crisis for a few years. Nobody tells you it's a few years. Everybody's like, oh, it's a midlife crisis. Oh, it's like 6 months.
No.
It's a continuous thing.
yeah,
And I'm starting to realize it's all meaningless. And more than that, I've started to realize that like there's two things for me personally, right? I know we're supposed to be talking about common stuff, but this is also parts of the inside, I guess.
come whatever.
Come what may. So that's a good name for a show.
Come
what may. That Facebook wouldn't block that either.
Right? Fucking Facebook.
We've ruined you. Took a break. I've realized I'm still caught in I don't know if it's capitalistic or it's just like this very basic human nature of wanting to succeed or be better than or be on top, be famous, so there's two parts of me, right? The one part that still kind of wants that all the time and is looking for meaning through that, and then the other part is just like, fuck it, like it's too much work. I don't enjoy the mental stress of it. I just want to be myself and have a good time.
Yep.
And the other thing which I think is going on is the searching for reasons all the time. So I was walking around now and I was thinking, like, I don't think I have a reason to live, right? It's not, I don't have a reason, but
No.
it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
That's it.
But no one, and that's the thing. No one has a reason. The only reason is that you can continue. You can experience joy.
Yeah.
That is the only reason to keep going, because you can.
You can, and I also think I was coming here with the scooter, and it's kind of warm, but I got it's windy, and I was like, this is not fantastic. It's not Disney World, but it's nice. Like it's nice to live.
Yeah.
And I don't need really more than that. And I wish I could just acknowledge that on a very basic level.
Yeah.
And just like even when I do go perform stand-up, so I try to be myself. I try to bring something from, and I there's a part of me that just like wants to be, I want to be famous. I want to do this. I want to be, but there's like another part of me that's just like, who said you should be?
Yeah.
You know, who said that what it is that you're doing is so special? And another thing I liked about the Bo Burnham thing is that he did everything himself.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe even though he also has this line between, just being himself and maybe being known or connecting with an audience, but I think that's if you can find something you enjoy doing by yourself other than masturbation, that's nice. I guess that's a nice thing to do for yourself.
And beyond sleeping. Yeah, even eating can lose enjoyment by yourself. But
I love eating.
I love eating too, but
I have a milkshake right here, vegan milkshake. It's very good.
But the thing of doing something, it's like the interesting thing about fame though. It's like you can't just get famous. Like you could do all the things right. Like you could follow a step process. You could even pay someone to be a manager. There's the only real way to get famous is by doing what you enjoy. Like maybe you get famous. So many people don't get famous, right?
Yeah.
Like, and what is fame anyway? Like you can get to a point where you have 100,000 followers on Facebook and be famous in like one country, but that doesn't mean people, a few kilometers outside of where you are know you. Like what is fame, and at what point, like what's the value that it brings? And I suppose, like as doing stand-up, it's just like all I want to do is do stand-up and have an audience and work on projects where I'm writing comedy. And that's what makes me happy. And like, so long as I can do that and I can pay my bills, that's all I want.
I guess it has to do with also like paying your bills. I think that being famous equates itself to having security.
Yeah.
And having security in itself is a very odd thing. It's just like if you're secure in yourself, if you believe yourself to be a person that can take care of oneself and maybe others, that's good. Everything else is kind of like, there are practical things you can do, but I think it's like an illusionary thing where is illusionary a word?
Yeah.
All right. Where it's another thing to strive to. I'm tired of striving.
Fuck striving, man. Just do what gives you joy. Like I've gone so hardcore Buddhist in the last few years, and it's just like, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
The only thing that's not so Buddhist about me is that I'm not so good at. I don't think it's not so good. Like I include people. I think, and I do. Like I make shows so that I could give more people stage time and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I'm not a big fan of like co-producing. I'm not a big fan of having other people working with other people on my projects.
Yeah, I get that.
But that's like that's the only thing. But other than that, like really just just doing what gives me joy, and it's not like fame. But if I can live off comedy, and I plan to only rely on comedy after I've done it for 5 years. So once there's a bit more of a touring route and like we're out of Corona, then if I can just live off my local shows and tours.
Do you think that's plausible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can do like a stretch of shows and that gives you a couple of thousand, and then like you do like 4 shows and maybe that's €1,000, and then you do your local shows and then you do another of those 4 shows in a different city. It doesn't mean you're going to be making big money, but also if I get more writing jobs as well. And who knows? I got contacted to do a sitcom this week, and they're looking for funding, so that's interesting.
That's nice.
Yeah, but let's see. Like maybe nothing will happen out of that, but whatever.
Could be nice.
Could be nice.
I used to want to write sitcoms, and now I hate it.
Yeah, you did write sitcoms, no?
I did write sitcoms.
In Israel.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
But like the sitcoms that I wrote they were like essentially started off as for kids, but then the team behind the sitcom, like we were just saying, let's do something for kids where adults would join too. So one of them like became a huge cult phenomenon, and the other was pretty successful. And I enjoyed it, and there was something from that perspective where where comedy comes from a place that you have absolutely no responsibility for anybody's intellect. That worked very, very well.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when you're writing for children, right, or teenagers, you want to educate, but you don't need to think too much because they're like silly shit.
Yeah.
And so if you like silly shit and you write silly shit, then people will enjoy it whatever age they are.
It's true.
That's how that works. And I think that in a way, when I look at the adult world, I'm a little bit too caught up with, I have to please the intellect. I have to make you think you're smart while you're laughing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've been reflecting a bit on, I love silly humor so much. Like my dad, my mom's like where I get my dirtiness from, and my dad is where I get my silliness from. And I'd like to pull a bit more on the really silly, just absurdist silly stuff. I find awesome, and I'd like to use that more, but yeah, I don't know about audiences. I haven't been experimenting enough.
I found when I was in Israel now, there's this one of the biggest comics in Israel right now. He does comedy in English in Israel, so I perform with him a lot, and I got to know him very well. And I noticed something that he was doing that I'm not doing enough, which is he uses his body a lot. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I use my body from the pelvis up, but not down, like legs and movement and the pelvis itself. And I was like, all right, let's focus on that. And I have been doing it recently, and it does bring out a lot of silliness.
Yeah.
Because you're sounding like you're just moving all over the place, and you're moving and people like it. I like it because I get to move. It's just there's something so static about doing stand-up sometimes.
Yeah.
And just being expressing metaphor through the body is kind of it brings a silliness to it.
Yeah, totally. The last 2 shows that I've done have been without microphones and without a mic. Oh my God, I'm so much more physically expressive because there's not this thing, there's the whole structure of the stand-up is broken down and you're just a guy standing in front of a bunch of other guys. The only difference is that you're standing and you're in front of them. So it's how do you yield their attention? And it's really you become so much more physical, and I become so much, interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. I quite like, non-amplified shows. All right, let's. Is there any topic that you want to? We've got to wrap it up because the bar is going to be opening soon. We are recording from the Wall Comedy at Boxhagenerplatz in Friedrichshain. Is there any disgusting or not disgusting anything you want to bring up before we wrap up?
Here's something I heard today. I think you'll have a take on it because I haven't thought about it, but it was an interesting. Thing somebody said on TikTok.
You're on TikTok, or
I am.
What the fuck?
I was in Israel a month ago, and I was bored because I was at my mom's place, and my wife couldn't come, and and there were missiles at some point, so I had to stay at home. So I just said, fuck it, I'll just do 30-second stuff. I did a thing. I got 40,000 views or something.
Ow!
Yeah, the rest of them got not as much. But then I started watching. So the first time I downloaded TikTok was in Berlin, and for some odd reason just showed me women and their tits all the time.
Yeah.
And I was and then
TikTok.
TikTok, yes. So I just deleted it. But in Israel, maybe because it's more conservative somewhat, then it didn't show me that. Just all these motivational videos and all sorts of people just debating and stuff like that. And then it's still the same here. Sometimes there's a tit, but then also sometimes there's a Christian guy. So I don't know. So they were saying this thing about advice for young men on dating, and they were talking about women that have the feeling of that men are how do you say it? That men are more privileged than women, and they said that their advice to young men is not to date men like that because they feel like then these women would blame them directly.
Okay. Not to date. What? Hold on. So women should. So advice to young men about dating, and the advice is that
the women that are very into that theory, that are angry about that area, will then transmit that to the person that they're dating, the men that they're dating.
They will transmit it. I think those women who are really angry about the systematic oppression of our sex, they're just gonna have lots of really uncomfortable, unsuccessful relationships for a while until they start to process that themselves, because you can't just it's like blaming your parents for your fucked upness all your life. It's no, You got to take some responsibility, and now you got to transform it, and you got to, like, yes, there's problems, but like actually, you know, we've actually got to move beyond that to make some progress. So I think those women who are really angry, they're gonna find a guy who who enjoys the sadomasochism, you know? That's it.
Yeah,
Who's
maybe.
like, yeah, we suck. Yeah, I'm sorry, babe. Or he'll just get angry, and then it could spout out like that whole reaction thing where he just becomes more of an asshole man for sure. But I'm really tired of women who are concerned with gender politics, making everything a matter of gender politics, and getting angry at men for their confidence. And I was one of these people, and I still have to process it a lot, but getting angry at men for all of their confidence and just blaming it on the fact that they're men. And it's like, all right, whoa, like take a step. If a guy is behaving badly, it's just a person behaving badly.
Yeah.
It's not just because they're a man. There are women, there are non-binary, there are a bunch of people out there that behave badly. Do not reduce everything to gender politics. Take some responsibility and just react to that situation that you don't like as a person, like they're a person. And let's see how we can grow beyond this. But women naturally have a lot of anger because of our systematic oppression through history. And so we've also got to be given, like, cut a little bit of slack, you know, like we don't have the N-word that we can use for ourselves, you know, we don't,
So
but
there's
we,
jealousy in that.
but there's like a, maybe, but this,
Maybe that's why cunt is like being looked at.
maybe, but it's like,
I don't think that's a good word to.
But it's
put-
like-
to delete. But
no, it's not. Yeah, I love cunt, but for example, black people, you know, they have this whole history of oppression, and so we've got to we cut them slack. It's like, yeah, they can be racist to white people, go for it, you know, and just like women can be angry at men, and it's like, okay, it gets a bit boring, but it's natural. Look at the fucking, you know, we're talking thousands of years right now. We're talking serious inequality and opportunities. So.
by the way, Jews still don't get like we're still being scrutinized. They're like, "Fuck you, Jews." Hey, well, how about some consideration? No, still fuck you.
But
It's
a lot of
just-
you Jews are, even though you don't, like, theoretically, like, ethnically, you might not be white, but there's still a lot of white men who are very privileged who are also Jewish. And
I have my joke about that because I'm Ashkenazi is that I have white privilege, but I didn't earn it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Plug your stuff.
You know, I do all sorts of shows and I do podcasts and stuff like that, live stream. So if you want to follow me, Facebook is a good place to go. My Comedy Cult is the name of my page, and then Ori Halevy if you don't find it that way. But it's My Comedy Cult, you'll find it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck yeah. All right. If you don't follow me yet, fuck you. We're clearly both on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and
Yes.
AF Barrows. That has been Adults Only Comedy Berlin. Thanks so much for coming, Ori.
Thank you. I think someone should pick up on the idea of for two ideas we had. Like, one is the app where you get to rate people, and the
Dick
other,
Advisor.
yes, and the other is the sweat thing where you get all the sweat in one place. So if you're in genetic science, please start working on that.
Yeah.
'cause we'll
Also the
appreciate
cum cup. I like the cum
it. Cum
cup.
cup, yeah, good idea.
All right. Have a good night, guys. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.